Hey fellow expeditionists, we're in Kentucky's Red River Gorge.
And we're hiking to Ravens Rock.
Raven Rock is a sandstone protrusion that stands nearly 1,300 feet tall, with massive cliffs on 3 sides. There is no official trail to the top, but it can be accessed via private parking with a $5 fee. The trail is just shy of 4 miles out and back, with 683 feet elevation gain. There's a mailbox here in front of the house with a red box in there, and that is what you put your money in. $5 for parking for the day, $10 if you're going to stay overnight, which we've always wanted to backpack up here, but this isn't the time for it. We got to talk to the landowner, Dave. Now, it used to be Pat. Unfortunately, Pat, after managing this little private area here for nearly 30 years, he did pass, and Dave was a good buddy of his and got to take over the land and take over management of the parking for the trailhead, overseeing it. And it was really good talking to him. We talked to him for almost a half hour because we know the stories of Ravens Rock. How back in the 70s, it was going to be turned into a tourist attraction. There was plans to have a restaurant up on top. They actually paved a road up the side of Ravens Rock. Well, Dave got to witness all of that. He saw how it was done and saw everything. He saw the hang gliders that went off of it and died or were injured. I can't remember the exact story now, but that was back in the 70s. So it was really fun talking to him about the history of this place since he was here and witnessed it. So one of the stories that Dave was telling me that I was not aware of was after their idea of putting a restaurant up there kind of fell through, and the guy had already spent so much money on all that. To make back some of that money, he actually brought in a bear, put a bear up there, which people could then drive up to and pay money to see, pay money to feed it. We actually talked to Dave for probably 20 minutes before starting our hike, as he was a wealth of information about Raven Rock and its history. His place might look like a mess, but don't underestimate those that live in this part of Kentucky, as they are resilient folk that often find themselves having to rebuild from storms and floods. Listening to a first-hand account of some of the things I've only read about, such as the building of the road to the top of the rock and the hang glider deaths of 1976, was fascinating. As mentioned, we got a lot of rain these past few days. This is mid-March. It is probably the beginning of the rainy season. And it's kind of ironic because the county is currently under a burn ban. The county went under a burn ban on March 13th. Today is March 18th. And even after 3 days of rain, they have not lifted that ban.
It's like hooded morgans.
The first 0.8 of a mile follows a utility right-of-way, which often has large puddles from recent rains and full of frogs. At some point, the trail may need to be rerouted, as the Red River is slowly eroding into the path. All right, we have reached the formerly paved road that goes up the side of Ravens Rock. One of the things I love about this is you can really see how over the years nature has taken it back. All right, coming around with these switchbacks, we have a structure over here. Now, when we were here in 2017, if this is the same one, I'm pretty sure it is, there had been more of a structure on top of it. And I had guessed that it used to be an old outhouse, but that is not the case. As you can see, it's got water running from it. This was an old pump station. Back when they were trying to put the tourist stuff on top of Ravens Rock. And like Dave was telling us, when the bear was up there, you could put money into a machine and it would pop food out for the bear. But it'd also spray a fountain of water for the bear. And this was one of the pump stations that did that. Yeah, we're still on what was once the road, though you cannot tell it here in this area. No signs of the asphalt or anything. It's all been covered up by nature. All right, it might be time to shed a layer. I'm working up a sweat. All right, top layer off. I've got my skunk ape t-shirt on today. You're not gonna find skunk ape here. They're more of a southern swampy area species, but here in Kentucky, you might find his cousin Bigfoot somewhere in this area, so you always gotta keep your eye out. We're just below this wall of Ravens Rock. We're heading up toward the gap in the rock over here. I have heard somewhere around Ravens Rock is an arch, but in my little quick research on Google, I could not find info on it. It'd be nice to know where that's at to find it as well, but for now I think we'll stay safe, stay on the trail. You can actually still see some of the yellow lines on the road here. The last bit of the climb is the steepest. I just think they brought cars up this thing. If you did this today, I'd either have a shuttle or a ski lift. Fortunately, it's now protected, part of the geologic area, but I'll never understand why they never made an official trail to it, because you have to cross private property like we did to do this. How you feeling up there, Caden? Is it steep? It is steep. Follow the yellow brick road. Well, we made it to the top of that incline, just about the end of the asphalt. And from this point, you can see how much of the top of Ravens Rock is still to this day, almost 50 years later, surrounded by this old metal fencing. All right, we got a couple of paths here from the top. We're going to take the one on the right. I think there's a path that goes right through the middle of this. Lots of junipers up here. Guess that's what can withstand the weather and the wind. Holly, yep. All right, you can see the remnants of some kind of structure here. It's got the four corners to it and a foundation. Either this is where they were going to build the restaurant up here, or it may have been part of the pen that held the bear afterwards. Well, you ready to go see the main views?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me this isn't one of the best views in all of Red River Gorge. One of the best in all of Kentucky. And you can hear all them frogs even from up here.
I'll say I like this view more than Natural Bridge.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's got all those rolling hills. We come around this side. Now out there, you've got Oxear Ridge all the way down to Courthouse Rock. We'll get a closer view of that on down. Funny fact, Caden, probably didn't even know this. Ravens Rock was a misnomer because the first people coming up here mistook all the turkey vultures flying around for ravens.
Whoa.
Yeah, so if they'd have known, this could have been Vulture Rock or something.
I don't know, Turkey Vulture Rock just does not have the same ring to it.
True that, true that.
Although they say this is also Bigfoot territory, so maybe this could be Bigfoot Rock.
Interesting, but you know, they'd have to have some kind of evidence for that. You know, show me some footprints or photographic evidence, something, right?
Something.
Now, I can't say for sure, but with this having such a big clearing and such a dramatic drop-off, I'm guessing this is where those ill-fated paragliders jumped off nearly 50 years ago. Some down to their deaths. Some, I'm assuming, were successful. I don't know. Now, of course, that would be illegal. See my car from here. All right, so this is a really cool viewpoint, but we're going to follow the edge here along this fence, go around to just see what kind of views we got. Of course, over that way we have the famous Oxear Ridge and Courthouse Rock. One of the best hikes in the red, no doubt. Do a little zooming in here on Oxear Ridge. About anybody that comes out to Red River Gorge has probably hiked it at some point. It's just such a cool ridge, very narrow. Right in this section here, where you got some trees that come down off of the ridge, is the very first place that we ever backpacked to. Of course, over there you got the Wizard's Backbone that leads on out to Courthouse Rock. I wonder what bent this rail.
Well, it's probably a bear.
Maybe it was Bigfoot.
Maybe it was aliens.
Maybe it was somebody on pot.
Maybe it was someone on pot who thought it was Bigfoot or aliens.
I've had those nights. This would be a pretty awesome place to backpack up to and spend the night. I think I could really enjoy that. Be a cool spot to bring a few friends with you to do it. It looks way steeper going down, dude. Baby steps.
Hey, you're not going any faster.
Well, I don't want to trip and roll. I'd bowl you over. We'd both end up going off the side.
No fail on me this time.
Yeah, this is an area I would not want to fail army at. You may not get back up from it. So that was our hike today up Ravens Rock here in Red River Gorge. It is an unofficial trail. I want to say it's somewhere around 3.5 miles out and back with probably something like 700-foot elevation gain. Really not as hard as I remember it being. Caden, you got any thoughts?
That view at the top was awesome. It just had a neat feel to it, the pavement giving way to ecological succession.
He would know that. And the fact that we had it completely to ourselves, not another soul has been on this trail. And that is partly because it is an unofficial trail and you have to pay like $5 to park up there. Not a big deal. Great guy out there, and what an amazing hike. Some of the best views in the gorge. So glad we redid this one. Someday I'm gonna come back out here and backpack up there and camp up there. We'll make it happen eventually, huh?
Eventually.
Yep. Cool place. We got more adventures to go. So, till next time. Peace out.